All right, what up? It's Ruben from TG, and in today's video, I want to talk about open interest rate and how it's going to help you pick better option contracts. Okay, if you've ever felt that like your option contract, you felt like you picked the right strike, the right expiration, but it's not moving as fluid as the stock is probably because you picked a very bad option contract that has bad open interest. Okay. So once you understand what open interest is in option trading and how it works and why it matters, you're going to be picking better contracts and you're going to be making money much smoother. Okay. Even if it comes to selling for profits or just exiting, you're going to be able to sell it a lot smoother. Okay. So we're going to go over that. But before I do that, I want to go over the wins for today. So a couple of days ago, I made a video on why CAVA was set up to go parabolic. All right. I said this is a great setup. This has about a 11-14% move from where it's currently at. And we took a trade yesterday. It ended up being kind of break even between two positions on CAVA. So no money was lost there. But today we took 66% home with us on a live trading call here within the community. Okay, this free community, 66% return. And so everybody who showed up, we all banked. And we're actually holding CAVA for a longer expiration because we want to capture this all the way to 90 and then maybe even 95. At least that's what the data is telling us. All right. So if you want to trade with us and catch these moves with us, then I will put a link in the description for you to join the private Telegram group. All right. But let's get into the video, into making you understand what open interest is. And every time I say this, every time I say open interest, I want to say open interest rate for whatever reason. I don't know why, but I do. All right, let's take a look at, let's start with the article here first. If you've ever entered an option trade and convinced yourself, you're convinced that you picked the perfect strike and you watch the price of your option contract just stay like stagnant or move against you, which is very possible even when the stock is going, when the stock is even going in your direction, and it's because of theta, you're not alone, right? Many traders obsess over the charts, the candlesticks, indicators, but they ignore some of the critical pieces when it comes to your option contract, which one of them is open interest, all right? So without understanding it, you might be trading something that is illiquid, something that you're missing clues, right? About big money. And then also stepping into something that looks enticing but has no follow through. I traded before something called a ticker called MDB, and it was liquid, and then the next day it wasn't liquid, and that really screwed up with my contract. All right, so making sure that you pick contracts and tickers that have liquid will avoid you from losing money overall, right? And you can make more money, you can sell smoother, and you can exit smoother. All right. So, in other words, your edge is incomplete. Once you know how to interpret this stuff, you're gonna be banking. All right. Let's take a look at what is open interest. Every time I say open interest, I want to say open interest rate. Too much Fed conversations, I guess. All right, open interest measures the total number of outstanding option contracts. I'm not going to get into all this. It's just, think of it this way. Let's say that I, let's say that I, let's see here. Let's say that I open a contract, that's one open interest. And if I close it, that's minus one open interest, right? And open interest updates at 4 o'clock Eastern time, the next trading session. How do I know this? Because I work on Gextron and I get data from Opera. And Opera tells me when open interest updates, and that's 4 o'clock Eastern time. All right. So, unlike volume, and if you ever take a look at the option chain, okay, let's take a look at the option chain here. This is the open interest column. You can always see it here. You can see what's going on. And these values, like I said, update at 4 o'clock in the morning, the next trading session day. All right. And for CAVA, that 66 return, we chose the 85 strike, which had really high open interest. You could see how like the anomaly, right? Is much greater than all the other ones. We picked a contract that was very liquid, okay, which allowed us to get that 66% return, which if you pick option contracts that are liquid, you could do the same thing too. All right, going back to the article here. When a buyer and a seller create a new option contract, right, open interest increases by 1. When that contract is closed, open interest decreases by 1, right? So you can buy and sell calls, you can buy and sell puts, that equals 1. But when you close that contract, that's minus 1. If an existing contract is simply transferred between parties, then the open interest stays the same, okay? Let me repeat that. If an existing contract is simply transferred between parties, one sells, a new trader buys, the open interest stays the same. So this number updates daily and is reported by the exchanges after each trading session. All right. And again, volume, open interest, unlike volume, right? Volume tells you the number of contracts traded in a single day. So during trading hours, you're going to see this value right here, this number right here, update. Okay. And this changes 4 o'clock Eastern time on the next trading day session. Is the market closed already? Oh, no, it's still running. All right. Why is open interest important? All right. Open interest helps you gauge if it's liquid. All right. Very, very important. Liquid contracts are important. Okay. Liquid contracts. We're just going to say liquid. Liquidity. Liquid. Higher open interest means more active participants in that contract. It makes it easier to enter and exit positions with tight spreads. Sometimes when you go into a contract that's illiquid, the spreads are very wide, and you're going to get filled at sometimes at the best that it possibly can. And when you open that position, sometimes you already start red. You don't want to do that. By picking contracts that are liquid, like this one, you can see here. Oops. This right here, I have tight spreads, and that means I can start at break even, and if it goes up, then I'm already green, right? All right. It also helps market sentiment. Changes in open interest can reveal whether traders are accumulating or new positions are unwinding. All right. Very, very important. Let's write that down. So market sentiment, right? You want to see, like, sometimes when you see open interest being really high at a specific level, then you're like, oh, there's a lot of interest at that. Why is that? And then that allows you to kind of make better assessment of, like, are participants being bullish or bearish, right? Especially when it comes to big money, right? Institutional level. And then confirmation. Rising open interest alongside price movement can confirm a trend strength. So for example, if call price rise and open interest climbs, more traders are betting bullishly, not just day trading in and out. All right. So this is something that you have to take a look at every day. But if you use tools like the tools that I create, like Gextron, then it makes it super easy for you to know this stuff. Okay, so open interest versus volume. What's the difference? This is a common point of confusion, right? Here's the simplest way to remember it. Volume shows the number of contracts traded today. Open interest shows how many contracts are open right now. Okay? Traded versus open interest, open right now. If you see a high volume but low open interest, it usually means contracts are being opened and closed quickly. And conversely, rising open interest signals traders are holding positions, which can fuel sustained moves, which open interest is really, really good for swing trading. Okay. How to use open interest in your trading. Here are a few practical tips. Filter for liquidity. Avoid options with very low open interest, as they can have wide bid and ask spreads and slippage. Look for confirmation, which when a price breaks out, is accompanied by increased open interest. This move is more likely to continue. And then spot exhaustion. If open interest starts to fall after a large rally, it could signal that profit taking and possible reversal. Okay, that's it. That is how you're able to use open interest. Hopefully, that explains what is open interest, how it works, and why it matters. It just gives you a better edge, right? You'll see what's liquid, what market sentiment is, and also confirmation. All right. And again, open interest updates at 4 o'clock in the morning. All right. And that's it. If you have any questions on it, feel free to ask in the comments, in the description, or the comment box down below. And if you want to trade with us again and catch moves like CAVA, then I'll put a link in the description for you to join the community, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.